As always, it's great to win. Thought the kids played hard. Handled the day with a late kickoff very well. So, uh, defense did some really good things. We knew we had to control the run game and try to get the quarterback off his mark, and we were successful in those areas, which was great to see. Defense, they ran to the ball, played good team defense, and offensively we had our opportunities early and didn't take advantage of them in a few spots. Had a couple balls that were dropped, a couple opportunities. We get caught up with the corner on another deep ball. So we just need to find a way to get our mojo a little bit early and make some plays and get off the field on defense like we did, and then continually find ways to have more extended drives offensively. That's a big part of this season moving forward on offense. We had too many drives or less than 2 minutes. I think it's 15 to 17 of the last drives in that game were less than 2 minutes. That can't take place again, especially against this opponent that we're playing this week. If that takes place, you won't win. That's just the bottom line. So there's prideful in the work we got to get done. We know where we're at. We all look at it as coaches and players. Special teams obviously was a huge part of the game again. Field goal kicking, the kickoff return. Savon is awesome. Also commend the other kids that are on that team. That whole team is the special teams player of the week for us. Is that whole kickoff return team. They're very prideful in what they're doing, and we have a special young man that are kicking, returning the kicks when he gets an opportunity. So, huge challenge this week. Air Force, not a good team in my opinion, a great team. In all areas, offense, defense, special teams. Offense is firing on all cylinders. Defense very opportunistic, run to the ball, play the way they've played for a number of years, and there's just a lot of really good players and a heck of a scheme, which we all know. So we have our work cut out for us, and it's a great opportunity. Bottom line is this has been built up now, and the kids have made this on both sides, both teams. They've made this a big game. So congratulations to the team on both sides. It's a big football game, and that's why you play, is to get into big moments and big games. And we'll see what takes place. But again, I commend the kids on both sides for putting themselves in this position, and it's our job as coaches to do all we can to get them ready for a big-time football game.
Coach, with your punter, Bartlett does very well, or Bartolid, however you say it, but is that a competition each week with him and Callister, or is it by injury he ends up there? And can you talk a little bit about him and what he did, because his special teams was also a big part of the game?
Yeah, Chris came in and did a good job, and it's a little bit, they're competing like every position when you go back through and see exactly the game plan, what fits, what the situation is, and it was Chris's time. He did a nice job last week, and Pierce has done some good things, which we know also. So it goes back and forth a little bit. I suppose with Coach Collins, they both have opportunities to kick during the week, and Coach Collins felt that it was obviously Chris's opportunity this last week, and he took advantage of it, which was good to see.
You talked about your special team as a whole, and kind of their blocking led to Savon's touchdown. Do you have a lot of first-teamers on defense and offense playing in that group, or is it mostly underclassmen?
It's a good mix, but there's a lot of experience. I don't know if I couldn't really tell you a number of seniors, but there's a good mix of upperclassmen and a couple new guys filtered in there. But we put as good of players as we can on special teams, and when you have a weapon like Savon, you want to make sure you do all you can. Holly's in there as a defensive tackle playing in that back end, and he has made a couple great blocks in there. And Christian is in there as a true freshman and done some great things on those kickoff returns. So it's a good mix of young and old, which is pretty much our makeup of the whole football team on all three phases.
Secondary played the best game of the season, taking some lumps early, but against NFL-type receivers, Wake Forest and LSU. How gratifying was it to see them put together that performance on Saturday?
Well, it's great for those kids, and that group is a bunch of just workers, tough-minded, obviously very talented young men, great athletes, or they wouldn't be in the position that they're in playing Division I football. But just I think what carries them through is their ability to fight through the good, fight through the bad, and just keep on grinding. And they do that in practice. They did that all summer. They did it all spring football. They did it last January in winter conditioning. And the ones that are back next year will continue to do it. And I think the great thing is a couple of those young men are obviously leaving. But DJ and Cam just give a great work ethic, toughness, understand that every day is not going to be great, and that should be infectious for that young crew of DBs, whether they're corners or safeties, and quite frankly for all the young kids on the team. So it's fun to see them have the success, make the plays that they were making out there, and they'll continue to grow and develop. And they got another challenge on their hands this week with obviously a team that they have to be highly involved in the run game, and they have to also be involved in an Air Force team that is very effective in throwing the football.
Coach, can you talk about the importance of having to play assignment disciplined football against such a unique offense like Air Force?
Yeah, it's assignment football, physicality, toughness, staying in the moment, understanding what's coming your way from a very different type of scheme, but functionally a good scheme that is a great scheme because of players and the way that their coaches adjust on game day. So all those things combined in this game deal with the discipline of the physical discipline and the mental discipline that has to take place on defense to be able to have any chance for success. There's a lot of different ways. A lot of people play these guys a lot of different ways, a lot of different scenarios. They see the odd front. They see the even front. They see people try to blitz them off edges. They see, a lot of different scenarios. But the bottom line is they adjust. And you'll see that. That's what the first quarter is a good quarter in scoring. Every scoring quarter is a good quarter for Air Force this year. But their second quarter, just look at it. The adjustments that they make, it's 100 and some odd points if I remember right, glancing at that, looking through some things I was looking at. But that's the kids taking coaching and adjustments. I'm sure that's a big part of it, and adjusting to the game plan and then putting it out there on the field. And the coach is doing a good job with it. So, I've been against these guys for many, many days in my career as a position coach, as a coordinator, now as a head coach, and nothing's changed as far as the respect I have for the kids in the program. Whether it's Fisher DeBerry or Coach Calhoun and his staff, they do a tremendous job, and they're at their best when they have really good players, and that's what they have this year, really good players.
You talk about going against them a lot. You talk about them making adjustments. I mean, it looks like it's the same kind of thing, but is it a lot different of how you went against them maybe 10 years, whenever you've gone against them before?
It's so funny because people have heard it 4 or 5 times just in the last week when you're playing Air Force, and how's a team that just runs 3 or 4 plays be so successful? And that could be no farther from the truth. There's a whole bunch of plays in there. It looks like it's a dive and tackle the dive guy and then slow play the quarterback, or tackle the quarterback and then just go tackle the pitch guy, right? And then there's a couple passes sprinkled in there. It's far more than that, and it's very in-depth. It's a elite offense taught by elite coaches, and their ability to adjust. But there is a number of plays in there. What appears to be triple option is many, many times not triple option. The blocking scheme is completely different up front. It may be a trap that the normal eye wouldn't catch. It may be a zone play. It may be a dive play. It may be a cutoff on the away zone on the backside where they're running the triple option phase of it, but they're going to hand the ball off. So there's a number of different ways that they attack you, and the biggest thing is when they find a deficiency, which a lot of offensive teams will not do. If they find a deficiency, they'll go back to it, and they'll go back to it, and they'll go back to it. And if they can do it 20 times in a row and you can't adjust to it and deal with it, then you're going to get pounded and you're going to get ground into the dirt, and that's where they love to live. So, again, a ton of respect, and you got to have on your big boy pants and hop in the trenches and be ready to battle against these guys. And that's why it's such a great opportunity, because it is unique, and you will know exactly, especially on that offense is built to grind you down, to beat you up, and you'll know if you're a tough guy at the end of that game if you come out of there and you held your own against that offense, especially inside the tackle boxes. You're a tough guy. If you're weak-minded or soft, you'll get dominated in that game and you'll get exposed.
Didn't you take time in camp to even work on Air Force?
Yeah, camp.
And your bye weeks?
Camp, spring ball, bye weeks, day after Christmas, whenever. Whenever we can whenever we find an opportunity to squeeze in a few periods of Air Force, we'll absolutely do it. And, you have to. It's just in my opinion. And again, that goes back for how many years I've played them, and I've been on both sides of that thing, where we've played very well, and I've been on sides when we have not played very well. But I know this: if you don't play well in all 3 phases in this game, again, you won't win. You have to play well, it has to be a real team. And you always say that, right? Play well on offense, defense, all three phases. Sometimes one phase has to pick the other phase up to get them over the hump to win the game, or even to play well in the game, and that may be special teams, offense, or defense. It may be two out of the three phases. But in my opinion, in this football game, you need to play well in all three phases to have an opportunity to win the game. And there will be ups and downs and flows both ways, and these kids will keep on battling. You know that the kids from Air Force are going to battle till the end, and I know this football team will battle to the end, and they're both battle-tested. You look at the Navy game, and they came storming back in that Navy game, and they were down, and they came storming back, took the lead, and ended up not winning that game, but just their ability to fight back and keep grinding through the process is what those kids do every single day. And I think that our team is proven to be pretty tough too. So a couple tough-minded groups going against each other.
Something that really impressed me is they played 7 games. They've only given up 22 tackles for loss as much as they run the ball. I mean, what does that say about their offensive line and how tough-minded and physical those running backs and the quarterback is?
Well, a lot of that I think has to do that can't be forgotten when you talk about Air Force not having a lot of TFLs. Is yes, sacks. I think they have 3 sacks, so there's 3 TFLs there. Not very many in that situation. And then a lot of times if they get sloppy ball handling, it results in a negative play for them, whether that's a fumble recovery or the ball's rolling on the ground and they miss a pitch or what have you. So their ball handling to me this year has been extraordinary. Not many times you see the ball on the ground. And then yes, it's a physical downhill running attack when they hand the ball off to the fullback, but a lot of times that ball is going to the edges, and they do a very nice job of just executing the offense. The guys on the edges block very well, and the skill set to me is on the offensive side of the football. Those wings are fast, and that is a little different than you see year in and year out with Air Force. Is the speed of the wings, the ability for the quarterback to be able to throw the football, and the skill set of both of the wide receivers. One of them is more of a tight end, and the other one's truly a wide receiver. But their ability to be able to catch the football, catch contested balls, and it's not just the wide open. We blew a coverage and they score a touchdown. These kids are running quality routes, and quality throws are coming his way, and they catch contested balls. So, really good offense and really good defense that's aggressive.
And it doesn't matter which quarterback's in there because they've already used 3 of them.
Yeah.
They've all been good
Yeah.
when they've had to play. It doesn't make a difference if somebody's hurt or whatever, too, does it?
Exactly. The skill set may be a little bit different, a little bit there, here or there, but it doesn't change the scheme. And they're all very well in tune with the scheme and how it attacks different types of defenses on what they're doing. The one thing you're not going to do is you're not going to just say, "Holy cow, well, we've never seen that." Right? It's not going to happen. You have to execute to beat them.
Speaking of quarterbacks, what does it do to a quarterback like Jordan, your quarterback, to have guys drop passes like that? Is that getting your? I mean, you talk about him being a tough-minded guy,
Yeah.
but that's got to affect things a little bit, I would have to think.
No, I think it does. There's no question, and Jordan is never going to be one to point any fingers anywhere. That's just not his. It's not in his DNA, which is part of what makes him so special. I don't think he does that in his own mind. I don't think he does it in any way, shape, or form. But does it? It's different. It puts a little bit of different spin on things, and you don't want it to hurt your confidence. But I think we'll all be fooling ourselves if we sit here and say, if I'm a 3-throw shooter and I've missed the last 10 in a row, all of a sudden that hoop looks real small, right? And so I think we don't want him to push in any way, shape, or form. But his guys need to pick him up, and that's. They need to make the great plays. If you look at the Wake Forest game, it's tremendous plays. Siosi's play in the end zone pops into my brain. There's been a lot of those. You have to catch contested balls, and you have to be able to make the plays when you have layups. And it's not just it's all over. On that side is when we're firing on all cylinders, we're doing a good job. Guys are making plays. Well, if we're not doing it, then we need to look at ourselves and self-evaluate ourselves as coaches, self-evaluate ourselves as whatever position we're playing. Offensive lineman, give Jordan more time. Let's work on coaching that better and be better as a guard, a center, and a tackle. And if we're dropping some balls, let's work on it as coaches and make sure we're practicing it the right way to give those kids the opportunity and give Jordan the opportunity to have practice feel as much like game time as it possibly can. And, as long as I've done this, I think it's the most important part of the whole thing is to self-evaluate the good, self-evaluate the average, and self-evaluate the bad, and then be consistent and make sure as coaches we're giving the kids the best opportunity to be able to, produce on game day, because they all want to produce on game day. There's not one of them that jogs out of the tunnel and says, "Oh, I hope I play really bad today." It doesn't happen. So, and I think Jordan has played very well again last game. He did some really special things with his feet that opened up the run game to allow those big runs to happen. And you can watch the tape, and if you can evaluate football for what football's worth at the end and really dissect it and understand how some of those big runs hit, it's because Jordan Love pulled the ball and got those edge defenders that are playing himself and the running back on the edge of the defense conflicted, and they made some poor decisions. And Jordan made some really good decisions on when to give it and when to pull it and run. And and then obviously there's 4 big, huge plays, and we can't get them back. But it doesn't mean we can't learn from them. That if we make those early in that game, it's potentially a whole different feel. And if we are going to be successful and continue on the road of being successful, that'll keep our offensive on the field, which we talked about earlier, which has to happen. It'll give Jordan that mojo going where, hey, I'm indestructible, I'm going to go get this thing done. And the offense becomes infectious on that, because the spread offense, if your quarterback's feeling it and he's spinning it and he's making those good decisions, it's a vicious, vicious weapon. And that's what we have. We have a really good quarterback, and we need to do all we can to help him be great.
Guy that you would probably love to have for this game. Obviously, you don't. What adjustments?
Who's that?
Fua.
Fua? Yeah.
What role has he taken on the team now that he's down?
Well, Fua's still with us. He's obviously in a different part of his life right now, as far as finishing school, getting himself moving in the right direction. Rehabbing himself. I think he still has a dream to eventually, chase some type of football. We'll see where it is, but he's still part of our football team, and he's there with the kids. I think it's important when kids go through that, you let them be involved how they want to be involved. He has no eligibility left. He has a family, and his priorities need to be his family and his education, knowing that we're here for him. So, but we still deem him as part of us, and he traveled to the LSU game, which was important for him to be able to go to that game, and so we obviously had the opportunity to take him to that game. So he's you got to filter out life in those situations, and we just need to make sure that we as a staff and his teammates are here if we can help him as he goes through that transition, because it's not easy sometimes.
What kind of character is he? How would you describe him?
Fua loves life. First thing that comes to my mind, he's a kid that has got a smile on his face, loves to joke around, but he also knows what his priorities are, and he's created those priorities that are intact in his mind. When we sat down with him and did his goal sheets back in January, we started to do that. His goals are right on task. So he's a goal-oriented kid that understands what his priorities are with his family and with his education, and they were football, still may be, but he was on the leadership committee for a reason, and he's very good for our youth, and especially when he was playing, but even now he's still really good for the youth on this football team to kind of, he's been through a lot. He's transferred, he's had to fight his way back and go to the junior college route, Weber State, all the things that he's done to be able to get himself where he is, and he's got a good story that can help youth. We good? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Go Aggies.
Overall, I think that our defense played fast and had fun. I mean, of course, the aspect of knowing your assignment and being locked in is important, but the fun and playing fast is also a big part of it, and I think that we did that pretty well, and the plays made themselves when we were just going full speed and nonstop and making sure that we knew what we were doing.
Air Force, obviously very explosive. They usually are, but they're even more so this year. What have you seen from them that's maybe different this year than what you saw for them last year?
Yeah, so with Air Force, I mean, always a tough team, always a tough offense to go against. But I think the biggest difference I've seen this year, like from the past game that they played, was more passing, a lot more. One of the receivers had like over 100 yards receiving, and that's not typical of Air Force. So, I mean, that just adds to their explosive offense, and that's just one more thing that we got to pay more attention to during the week and rep a lot for their offense.
Well, you made a lot of defensive tackles against Nevada too. You were in on a lot of plays, and you'll have to. Secondary has to tackle in this game very, very well. Plus, you have to look for guys running down the field. I mean, it's kind of a tough situation they put the secondary in, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, everybody has to do their part day in and day out. It's about reps, really. In practice, it's about keying in on what we have to do, keying in on your job every snap, every play. And when the time arises, you have to make those plays. You have to make those tackles. You have to be in those positions to make the plays on the ball when they're in the air. And so it can be a lot of responsibility, but I feel that everybody on our defense is up for the task of going against this offense.
Have you, for you personally, you seem to have made a huge stride from last year. Was you've made it so DJ can play corner and you play nickel or whatever it is. I mean, can you talk a little bit about your transition from one year to the next, you as a player?
Yeah, my transition, I just kind of started to focus more, you know. Last year going into fall camp, I actually was like in a playing role and I was starting, and then I ended up not. I ended up down on the depth chart, and that was an internal thing, and I just had to really realize that I had to focus. You know, I worked more with my teammates. I took better advice. I listened more. I just keyed in more, you know, and working with my teammates was a big part. Like, I get advice from DJ all the time, you know. I talk to him a lot because he has a lot of knowledge and he understands, and he's confident and humble and everything. So just taking from my teammates and building my confidence back up through them has been a big part of it.
Did you play nickel in high school, or was that something that new with Utah State?
Yeah, so my high school didn't run too much nickel. We did run it eventually, but in high school I played everything in the back end. I played safety, I played nickel, I played corner, so it's not too new, you know. Wherever I'm needed, wherever I can make an impact, you know, I'll go and I'll work at it, and I try to perform to the best of my ability.
How many times have they called you to blitz this year? Very often? Or?
That was probably on the year. That was probably my third blitz only of the year. So it was good to hit home finally and make a play with it.
You guys have been pretty stout defensively this year in the red zone. I think that's got to be a major point of emphasis this week. Air Force has scored touchdowns on, I want to say, 25 to 33 red zone possessions this year. So how absolutely imperative is it that you guys bow up in the red zone this week?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, always it's important to bow up in the red zone, but with Air Force, you know, real tough team, real effective in the red zone. But I think that our success in the red zone is definitely a testament to our defensive line. They're relentless. I mean, they get through the cracks of the O-line play after play, you know, and that makes it a lot easier for our safeties to step up, our backers to step up and fill those holes and, you know, make those stops. So that's what we're going to need. We're going to need a lot of toughness when it gets down there, because Air Force is really effective, and we know that.
What's your scouting report on the Air Force Falcons offense as a whole? What do you see?
A little more speed than usual. Like Coach A said, especially those wings, really fast, you know. More passing, like I said. And they're effective. They're really effective. They're always effective every year, but this year they seem to be in their groove, you know. So it's important to be really focused this week. Absolutely focused every rep, every play.
We played okay. Could have played a lot better. You know, we got to get back to the fundamentals, the basics, and keep striving to do better, and you know, really take off in that run game and get the explosives in the pass game.
Coach Anderson talked about how Jordan's running early in the game kind of opened up the run game for you and for Jalen. Why was that? And was that kind of by design to have Jordan run like that, or was that just something you were seeing?
Well, it's never by design. You know, we run plays, and you know, you got to trust Jordan out there. He's the man with the plan. You know, he's the big shot out there, and we just trust what he sees. And if he needs to pull it, he's going to pull it, and he's going to take off, get as much yards as he can, and then when I finally get the ball, hopefully the hole is there for me to do what I need to do.
I asked the coach about what it affects a quarterback when passes get dropped, like they were in the game. There were some obvious drops, and he says, you know, Jordan never points. So you never come back. Well, you don't huddle much anyhow, but you never come back. Come on, or you don't ever hear that from him.
Nah, we don't do that around here. It's you already know it. You drop the ball, you already know what people gonna say. So tighten up, you know, do better. Let's go.
I mean, from what you've seen, you'll do a lot more prep work this week, but what's the best way to attack this Air Force? What's been a really opportunistic Air Force defense?
The best way to attack a triple option team who runs the clock down forever, and we'll probably have about 8 or 10 possessions the whole game. What's the best way to attack them? Score points. Every time we get the ball, we got to score. So that's the best way to attack a team like that.
We've had a couple of guys that they do that feature for us about they ask you random questions.
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 guys have said you are the biggest trash talker on the team.
Who said that?
A couple of guys. Do you agree with that?
You serious?
Yeah, they said that. They said, well, they like you though. I mean, you can tell they're not. It's not like hateful trash talk.
Yeah.
They think you talk more than about everybody on the team. Is that true?
I don't know. I ain't know I was a trash talker. I just be talking. Yeah. That's crazy. I need to know names. Write them names
Well,
down. Yeah, write them names down. Let me see.
I think Unga was one of them last week. So.
Yeah, Unga. I talk a lot of smack to Unga.
Yeah. See, okay.
Talk a lot of
So now it's
smack.
justified then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
So do you talk to the opposing defense too, or just your teammates?
Yeah, I like talking to them, but I only talk to them when they do something to me that's kind of foul, or they say something to me, and then I'm on their head the whole game. I talk about them the whole entire game. So yeah. Well, I know y'all got
What
some
about how
questions.
you guys have set yourselves up now? You continue to in conference games. You've taken care of things as you've had to, and like you said, I think it was you who said after the game, what we've done up until now is probably not good enough to maybe continue to win the championship or to do things. You got to offense has got to do better. You're saying at that time, but a lot of things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, as I say a lot of times, over and over, my expectations for this offense, for me, for other individuals in this offense is very high, and I'm not going to lower the standard for anybody. This is my last go-round. It's my senior year, and I can't afford to be let down or to let myself down or to let my teammates down. So I hold that standard high, and even though people like to say celebrate the win, yeah, celebrate the win, but it's time to get back in the lab and focus on everything that we can correct and we can do a lot better, because there is a lot of mistakes out there, and I know we haven't played our best game offensively, defensively, and on special teams. So it's out there for grabs, and every week we go out there and play a new game. Who knows? That might be the game. It could happen. So you just got to keep pushing. As a leader, I got to keep pushing those guys, my teammates. Hey, man, we can do better. And be a strategic critiquer. If that makes sense. But do it in the right way, and so hopefully, doing that and being a good leader will help us keep moving forward, climbing up that mountain to a Mountain West championship.
Speaking of leadership, this is a very hostile environment, very big game here in the Mountain West. What do you tell to younger guys, Jalen Warren or younger guys on the team, about how to prepare for something like this, a conference big-time game?
Have fun. It's football. Most of these guys on this team have been playing football since they were 7 years old. It's all about having fun. You got to know your assignments and all those things, yes, but when you're in a big environment and them fans out there screaming, that's what you want. That's what big-time players wish for. We wish that, let's play in front of this big crowd and it's loud, and that's when you have camaraderie and along with your teammates, and y'all just get through it together. So I just say just have fun. Just go out there and go crazy.
What's it like to have Jalen Warren back last week?
It was nice. Took the load off a lot. He did very well, per usual, as he always would do. He's a great running back, runs physical, and he's very well at catching the ball as well. So it was great having him also in the backfield, having that 1-2 punch.
Gerald, this is weather we've had for these games last while, and what we'll have the rest of the year is nothing like Florida.
Nah.
Has that been a hard thing for you to adjust to play football in this kind of weather, or do you even think about that when a game starts or anything?
During the week, I be thinking about it. I be like, man, it's finna be cold, man. I ain't trying to be doing all this. But nah, it don't really affect me. But the best weather, I like playing in the sun. So LSU was my favorite game because my muscles felt warmed up and everything. I felt like I was at home. But the weather, you just gotta take it out of your head, man. It's just a factor of the game that you just need to eliminate, and play ball.
Did you ever think you'd play football in 32-degree weather or whatever in your life?
Never thought of it. Never, ever.
How long did it take you to adjust to the elevation? It's different.
A funny story. So when I first got here, my very first workout day, well, I say the second day. The first day we did 100 up downs. the second day I came out here, we ran tempos, and I think we had to run like 8. I only made 2. So that elevation hit me pretty hard, and they sat me down. But I got over it about a week or 2, so it don't take that long. You just got to run and train in it, and then you'll be all right.
I would suspect that you play probably a pretty big role in when Savon elects to return those kickoffs there. How much pride do you take in your role on the little special team units this year? Really made a difference for this team.
Well, I hate to give the credit to Savon, all the credit to Savon, but he's a great returner. I mean, I think he set the record 5 kick returns in the career, so that is amazing. And for me to be on the field when he's doing that, I am honored to be on the field. I'm honored to block for him and do what I'm supposed to do to make him great. So that's what I got to say about that.
Are you surprised they're still kicking to him and not kicking to you?
Bro, super surprised. When they kicked it to him the second time, I'm like, what? Are you? I'm like, I guess they was like, he can't do it twice.
But you'd like a chance too. You'd like a chance too.
I do, but hey, that's the man. You know, that's his thunder. You feel
You guys
me?
can
So
line up in eyes in eye formation.
we try. That's what we do. We try. Don't worry.
Well, you probably nowadays the rest of the year you might not see any kicks either your direction or too far.
I mean, that's what we think, but you never know. Some people they just arrogant and they want to go for it. So.
Savon kind of has a green light to take it out whenever he wants. Do
Oh,
you have
yeah.
a similar light or no?
Yeah, we know what we doing back there. Coach tell us if we ain't going backwards, we going. So get ready.